We covered part 1. We covered part 2. And now we are at part 3. Finally, I gotta be talking about Aliens versus Avengers, issue number 3 by Jonathan Hickman. And also, there's a new player on the board. What are we waiting on? Roll that intro, cuz. Yeah. What's going on, Geek Corner? This is your boy, Earth Smack, the Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Orange Phoenix Media channel and another episode of Comic Book Declassified, where we talk about the most recent issues in comics, as well as past issues, as well as character bios. If you ask for it, if you are new or returning, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you get notified on all of our content, whether it's live or recorded. Also, just to let you know, issues number 1 and 2 of Aliens versus Avengers links will be in the description below. So if you want to check out those videos, you can. Or if you stick around to the end of the video, which I'm hoping and praying that you do, there also will be links to those said videos. Okay, and we don't just cover comic book content. We cover gaming news, we cover anime, we cover pro wrestling throughout the week. So this is the media channel to come to. This is the media channel to subscribe to. This is the media channel to like and subscribe to. But let's get into some Aliens versus Avengers number 3, shall we? So Aliens versus Avengers number 3. Writer is Jonathan Hickman. Artist is Esad Ribic. Color artist is Av Vorsina. Letterer is VC's Corey Petit. Cover is Esad Ribic. Various artists for variant covers, designs, assistant editor, editors, and editors in chief. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're thinking Aliens versus Avengers. You talk about the Marvel Universe and everything else in between. Like, Aliens don't stand a chance. They can't stand a chance. There's so many powerful beings in the Marvel Universe that why would they be a threat? Why? There's only one reason they can be a threat, and that is at the mercy of the writer. Like, they are being put in a bleak situation. Now, mind you, will the Xenomorphs pose a problem if it was like the MC, the Marvel Universe as we know it, not at the mercy of the writer? It still will pose a challenge, mainly because of the population, how fast the Xenomorphs can grow, the gestation period. First you got a face hugger, then you're bursting out the chest, and that's almost like within a few minutes, and then it's like it keeps going on and on and on and on and on. So it's hard to contain. On top of all that, you do not know what human has that egg inside them. I mean, you might come across one just at that moment in time, and you might get taken out. So there are always possibilities of this stuff transpiring, okay? But when you think of people like the likes of Scarlet Witch, the Phoenix, and anybody like, or any Omega level mutant, that's easy wins. That is easy dubs, especially Scarlet Witch. House of M. You know what I'm talking about. But again, this is at the mercy of the writer. Now, remember at the beginning of the video, I told you there's a new player on the board, and we will definitely get into that. But let's recap just a little bit. Now, in issue number 2, Captain America and the Incredible Hulk made allegedly the ultimate sacrifice. So Iron Man, Captain Marvel, and Miles Morales Spider-Man escape from Earth because it's been completely overtaken by Xenomorphs. It's nothing else really to fight for. It's no other survivors. Okay, so they escape. They make the ultimate sacrifice allegedly, and also waiting out in the winds in issue number 1. You got our boy Apocalypse. That's TBD. Like, this man said in issue number 1, he said, "Listen, I am Apocalypse. Who am I to flee? Who am I to run? It is the survival of the fittest. If I run, my name is no longer Apocalypse. I'm no longer about that life."
I'm leaving here with something. I mean, I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
Apocalypse stood on business. So we don't know his whereabouts. We don't know his fate. We don't know he's been completely taken over by Xenomorphs or a facehugger got to him. We just don't know. But what we do find out in issue number 3 of Aliens versus Avengers is that Tony Stark, we have not seen him in his suit of armor, but we come to find out that his wheelchair is his suit of armor. So he can go out and fly and shoot repulsor rays and everything else in between. And they lands on this planet along with Spider-Man and Captain Marvel, looking for survivors and seeing what they can do to make things better for themselves. But that player on the board that I'm talking about makes perfect sense. And I'm talking about Mr. Sinister. Like, listen, Mr. Sinister has got to be one of the most conniving, calculating characters in all of Marvel when it comes to the X-Men, it comes to the mutant population. This man is a geneticist. And one of my first thoughts, especially in issue 1, I know I didn't mention it in those videos, where is Mr. Sinister? Because this got to be his wheelhouse. Like, he got to be having the time of his life, because this is a new species which whom he can research and dissect and do whatever he's going to do. And we find that out. You also find out that he can make copies of himself, as seen in Sins of Sinister. Now, if you are not familiar with Sins of Sinister, I encourage you to go out there and read Sins of Sinister. Very good storyline, by the way. You get to learn more about Nathaniel Essex and what he's really, really capable of doing. And the most powerful thing you got is your mind. So Mr. Sinister says, you know what we have here, don't you? It's undeniable. It's irrefutable. It's glorious. Perfection. And you see him looking at a facehugger. He's dissecting a facehugger. And he goes on to say, we spent our entire lives, whatever. We spent all that time seeking out the possible genetic ends of not just what we are, but what we can be. And in this, we have finally found our answer. This creature is a starting point of a universal extinction machine, while also quite perfectly a historical container for the genetic remnants of each of its hosts. Yes, it is your end, but it is also forever. And most of all, the ideal representation of all we have learned about society. We are born in pain, consume everything, and leave nothing but annihilation in our wake. Now, as he's talking, he's lamenting, he has his own dialogue and everything else. You see the mutants, like with facehuggers, more mainly Colossus. I'm like, dang, man, they got my boy. They got my boy Colossus.
Got his ass cooked.
Man, they had to do that to him. But he goes on to say, brothers, the point is not that we have embraced this glorious species. It's that we have to revel in it. And obviously, they get word that there's a ship on that said planet. And it is actually Iron Man, Captain Marvel, and Spider-Man. He's like, yo, Mr. Sinister, what have you done, dog? What did you do? And he says, normally I'd be offended by the implication, but there is no denying these dirty hands, is there? For so long, we believe that mutants were the singular dominant species in this solar system. How wrong we were, and how unforgiving the lesson of extinction was. And Spider-Man goes on to say, are you the only one who survived? He's like, I am not. Well, interesting you should ask that. And from that standpoint, you see he'll come out with xenomorphs. Xenomorphs at his beck and call. He said, I adapt. I overcome. I conquer evolution. I defeat Darwin. And I just can't help myself. I always side with the winners. Now, from that standpoint, listen, a fight goes off. Spider-Man, Iron Man try to do their thing the best they can. My thought process is this. If Iron Man can fly, if Captain Marvel can fly, why didn't you grab Spider-Man and got the piss up out of there?
You must be some kind of a dumbass.
Like, full well you can't take on all those xenomorphs. Like, we tried this before. We tried this on Earth. You mean to tell me you couldn't just run just for that moment, like to gather yourself because you got caught by surprise? Because now Carol got acid on her face. She's looking to die at any moment. But let's backtrack just a little bit on the things that Mr. Sinister done. This was a human colony that he was on, and Mr. Sinister built a gun that shoots out facehuggers to speed up the process of the gestation, because now he overtakes this. Now he runs the xenomorphs, at least on that planet. Now Carol is on her way out of here. You know, she's about to make the sacrifice of her own. We have seen sacrifices throughout issue 1 and issue 2, only to be saved by the White Queen, only to be saved by Emma Frost. And she says, is she alive? And my boy Wolverine says, nah, this one never had an ounce of quit in her. That's how you find out it's Logan. She blacks out, and then when she wakes up and she comes to, you see Armor, you see Logan, you see Emma Frost. These are the people that the Xenomorphs are unable to infect because they can't just easily get to their faces. Armor for obvious reasons. Logan has a healing factor, which quickly heals. So whatever he got going on, it's going to fight whatever he got going on. At least that's what we are led to believe. So let's hear what Armor has to say. She says the White Queen originally suspected he'd once again manipulated his genetic code. A few days ago, talking about Mr. Sinister, I had tore one in half and discovered that he's carrying one of their eggs around in his chest. I think he somehow messed with the incubation cycle and prolonged it. So that's why Mr. Sinister didn't get the chest burster. He didn't get that because he prolonged the inevitable, basically. Maybe he owns it now. He has full control over it, but we'll see. Armor continues to say, but that's just a guess. If you want to know more, you will have to ask one of the Sinisters yourself. And Armor's like, the theory is sound, it's unproven, but it makes sense. So Carol goes on to say, well, thanks for the rescue and for patching me up, but I'm headed back in. I have to know if Tony is dead, and I have to know what happened to the others. If there's a chance of anyone still alive, I gotta go. So Logan was like, listen, you don't know what you're facing, Carol. They won't stop. They can't. It's what they are. It is what it exists to do. Myself, Armor, and Emma can't be harmed by these things. Eden is sitting inside his manifold when we travel, so he can't be touched. But you can be. Stay here. Let us protect you. He's like, you don't understand, Logan. He's like, nah. You don't understand, bro. Like, I've been around for like centuries. Like, I understand this. And he says, listen, but I do. You see, one killing machine recognizes another. That is death out there. So at this point, Logan's like, listen, if you're going, I'm gonna go with you because I'm the one that can protect you. So they go out on their search and they find out what happened to Tony Stark. And Tony is gone. A face hooker got to Tony. Chest bursts out his armor. Again, this is one of them situations where, okay, there's a little bit of a plot hole because obviously you got your face armor and all that stuff, how that stuff got ripped off. What happened with you? You could have easily flown off.
Dummy. Yeah.
You know, you Tony freaking Stark. But it is what it is. It's like, and Carol goes on to say, you did not deserve this. No, Tony did not deserve this. But they find out later that a Wakandan ship has returned, and that is the end of issue number 3. So here's the thing with that. Issue number 3 was totally centered around Mr. Sinister. It totally built this up that Mr. Sinister is the big bad. Mr. Sinister is the person that we have to take out, because now it goes from the alien beings that control the Xenomorphs, them that speaks a different language, to now Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister is the bigger threat. At least that's what we are led to believe. And we don't know what the Wakandans figure out. And where the heck is Spider-Man? Where is Miles Morales? I know you didn't get the symbiote suit to fuse with the face hugger to communicate with him and kill him off in issue number 3. I don't think that's what happened. I think Miles Morales is actually on that Wakandan ship. He's actually one of the ones that they were able to save, or Mr. Sinister has him. But we will find out in issue 4. We don't know when issue 4 is going to come out because this is not a weekly issue. You understand? I think issue 3 came out in December, if I'm not mistaken, but we covered issue number 2. We covered issue number 1. There's no telling when issue number 4 came out. I have checked myself. I do not know when issue number 4 is going to come out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. Until next time, y'all. Peace.